Hello guys and welcome to another Mad Chili video. Today we're back in X-Plane. I'm looking forward to it. This should be good, right? So, yes, another X-Plane video, and been a real pain to just start recording this one. I've had quite a serious issue with X-Plane. It's not been starting up whatsoever, and I linked it to the fact that I got a brand new version of Navigraph Simlink installed earlier today. So I quit Navigraph Simlink for a couple of tries, and there we go. That was the issue. So for whatever reason, I don't know why, but unfortunately, that was to do with that spy, that error that came up. But yeah, unfortunately, it appears that it's not working. I don't know why. Navigraph Simlink, this new version that's just come out, appears to be totally broken. So keep my fingers crossed that maybe they'll either release a patch soon, or maybe I just need to restart my computer. I don't know, because I haven't restarted my computer since I installed the new version of it. So maybe that's what I'll need to do. I don't know. Although I did try uninstalling Simlink from X-Plane and installing it in again. That didn't work either. So what that means is on the chart app today, you guys will not see a little red, little pink arrow where the aircraft is. That will not be working because Simlink isn't working. So it's a bit disappointing, but hey, I'm glad I found the source of the crash at least. And luckily the crash was occurring on load in as well. Obviously much better happening before you load in than mid-flight. Right, just gonna go ahead and get everything set up then. So the weather here is actually perfect for a runway 33 departure. However, apparently, at least according to the charts, they use runway 15 here at Rome Ciampino. Just to introduce it, actually, we are going from here in Rome Ciampino, not Fiumicino, the big one. We're going from the small one down to Leipzig in a cargo 757, so that should be good. QNH here, I just checked, is 1031-3045 on the altimeter. I prefer to set them on to altimeter in this plane, as in, like, obviously, even though the METAR gives it in QNH, I'll just make sure that they're the same. I like to keep this in standard pressure, but yeah, just to make sure that both sides are identical. So there we go. Let's go ahead and get the aircraft powered up then. So it's been a bit of a pain, this has, trying to get everything to work, but we're here now, and the aircraft's working. So we got there in the end. Right, just get the radios fired up and ready to go. That can go into weather and turbulence and +2. Basically, just get everything fired up. Utility bus and the bus ties, and that's about it for now. What we want to do is head to here, and you can see the loader support unit is ready. We'll get the GPU and the fuel truck connected. We're obviously hauling cargo today, so no need for anything else. We'll get the loader unit set up as well, so that'll spawn in there. So that means everything is now ready to go. We're going to go ahead and open up the doors. I think we'll need some stairs as well. There we go. So now everything's all ready to be loaded up. Just make sure the GPU is connected. It is. And we'll do some maintenance. Maintenance successfully performed. Have a look at failure reports. There's nothing there, so we're all good to go ahead and get the external power connected up. Just check that all this stuff is in kilograms and original, which it is. It's good to go and perfect. So we're here in LIRA, and I will just give a quick look at the coordinates for stand 113, where we are right now, so we can enter them into the IRS. There we go. I've got the coordinates ready. Just going to go ahead and whack these into nav. So that means that they're ready to get aligned, basically, when that pops up. And this can just go onto the progress page for now. We'll leave it. I guess we can put the AUT brakes into RTO. Why not? It's just something to do while we're waiting. And we'll go through this. You know what? Let's actually load up the aircraft while we're waiting. I think that's probably a good use of time. So, today we are expecting a cargo weight, whole weight. We're going to be doing off-zero fuel weight, actually. So, first of all, our fuel weight is 11,700 kilos for today. It's about a 1 hour and 50-minute flight. If I bring SimBrief across, you can see there's our route of flight today. Straight up north. And if we have a look at these two values, you can see it's about a 30-mile headwind overall on the entire route, so not too bad. Everything's all ready to go, so that's back. I'll just put that back there. Perfect. So I hope everyone enjoys this. I was actually going to get an iRacing video recorded for you guys today, and in the end I decided against that. I did one race in the GT3 Challenge Fixed. I got took out by someone who went on the grass and basically killed their car, so that was fun. Yeah, they went over the grass, spun out, and then just murdered me in the process, so there we go. 5,300 kilos of cargo, is it? Yes, there we go. So that's the zero fuel weight we want, so pretty full, actually. Optimise the CG weights. There you go, 28, that's good. That's all good, so we'll go ahead and load it up. That's going to begin to start loading now, and the IRS position is ready to go. And the position we're looking for here at stand 113 is north 41 48.0 east 012 and 35.4 for this stand. So I'll go ahead and get that in there. So that's now going to start aligning. And we're good. That can go onto the route page now. Go from LIRA to EDDP. You know what? Let's just connect ourselves onto the VATSIM network, actually, because I haven't yet done that. I actually sometimes forget. It's unbelievable. So Skyway 7031. We are a 757 freighter, but that isn't recognised by VATSIM, so it's just going to be a 757-200 today. It's the same thing, it just means that we won't be recognised specifically as a freighter. Doesn't really matter. So that's all in there, and I think we're good to start getting the route in. So we are departing today on the Sovan, so runway 15, Sovan. Okay, so this is a bit of a weird one. This is kind of how it is that actually, so we're taking the, so depending on, so SimBrief sees it as the Sovan 5 Victor, which is a transition out of the airport, but to get to that transition, we first need to take the OST 7 Alpha, so it'll be the OST 7 Alpha, and then the Sovan 5 Victor. So there we go, that's in there, perfect. Route, and from Sovan, it is direct to Amtal. From Amtal, it is direct to Nukni. These were initially airways, but they were airways that had altitude restrictions on them, and they didn't have any waypoints in them either. It was, just basically a direct. So I haven't changed the route at all. I've just changed the airways for direct. It means exactly the same thing. Sumia, then direct to Breno. M726, then to Lasga. Then it's going to be direct to Vosim. Then direct to Doxley. And that is it. Activate that, and then we're going to be arriving on ILS runway 26 left in Leipzig with the jogger transition, and it's the Goxley 1 Victor. Execute all of that in there. Going to be vectors, but we don't use those, so we'll probably get rid of those later on. You know what? We can just get rid of them now. Actually, I think jogger there like that, and there was another discount there. So we'll grab Goxley, and then that's all deleted. So everything's all good in there now. The fuel hasn't yet been loaded on, so we'll wait for that. Cruising stay, flight level 360, and cost index is 35, and cruise winds are 017 at 023. ISO deviation is -2. Okay, looks like loading's finished. I will just check, is that the cargo as well, or just the fuel? It's all of them. Excellent. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get the zero fuel weight in there, which is 84.7, like we expected. It's actually, 84.7. SimBrief was rounding it. It is still 84.7. And the reserve fuel today is going to be 3.1 and 1.5, because our alternate is really far away. Oh, SimBrief being stupid has planned our alternate as Copenhagen. I think in real life they'd probably use Hamburg or Berlin, so that's why we're probably taking a bit too much fuel today, which leaves us with a stupid reserve of 4.6, but whatever, that's Simbrief does that sometimes. It does stuff like that. Where it plans something that's a little bit suspect. It doesn't really matter. Everything's all ready to go. Temperature now, I'd have a quick check actually. The airport runway here is only 7,200 feet, so I think we're going to do a full power takeoff. So, we'll do the full on takeoff. V-speed, we'll go with the usual 140, 145, and 150. We are quite heavy though. As you can see, if we go to our... So you can see, out of the 5 cargo compartments, we've filled up 2 of them, and every single pallet is also on board as well. Right, in terms of... Let's get rid of the luggage loaders now. The parking brakes can be set, and we'll get rid of the chocks, the stairs, and the fuel truck. We'll leave the GPU. Let's go ahead and go up to the top, make sure everything's on. The yaw dampers can come on. The ELEC engine continuous things can come on. We'll leave the hydraulics for now. I like to whack these into USB. For some reason, it doesn't really matter, I don't think. Engine limiters, make sure they're not lit up. Altitude, make sure this is in auto. And the altitude here in Rome Ciampino is 430. Turn on the no smoking signs. Turn on seatbelt signs. Make sure the packs are in auto. Trim air and recirc fans can come on. We'll go ahead and get the heaters set to auto. Window heats can come on. And I think that is everything good to go now until the IRSs are aligned. So what we'll go ahead and do... we were actually meant to be off at 2 o'clock as well, so we're a teeny bit late. That is thanks to... that's thanks to, obviously, X-plane difficulties that we were having. So, that's all good to go then. We're all ready to go. Let's go ahead and do the departure briefing, I think. So, start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, okay. So, we are here in Rome Ciampino at... roughly where the control tower is, where it says that. Obviously, remember, no actual, no pink arrow for our aircraft today, sadly, because Navigraph Simlink has decided it doesn't want to work. So, it decided it wanted to cause game crashes, so we're okay with that. We're departing runway 15 on the ep7 Alpha, which is the one that doesn't have that extra little turn in it. We're going to be above 3,000, 8 miles from Ost, that's in there. Above 5,000 at Ost, and then above 11,000, and if you go on to the Sovan 5 Victor transition, above flight level 110, then at RA531, which is fine, and that's all that set in there. Have a little look then at our actual main route. You can see we are departing basically north, and then heading all the way north through Austria and Germany, and then descending into Leipzig, where we'll take a bit of a vectored approach into the ILS. So there we go, that's all set up and ready. Just go ahead and stop recording on that. Excellent, okay. All done. And we can go ahead and get the pushback tractor set up. Actually, we'll get the APU fired up first. And we'll get the hydraulics fired up as well. And the fuel pumps. Everything's all ready to go now. So we just need to wait for the IRSs to align, which shouldn't take too long. Again, we were actually meant to be up at 2 o'clock Zulu, and it's currently 2:01. No. Oh, hang on a minute. I've only just realised as well, because of the time zone change, it's actually 1 o'clock Zulu, not 2 o'clock Zulu. So in the end, we're actually going to be stupidly early. Honestly, I'm terrible. I've totally forgotten. Obviously, the time zones have recently changed, and obviously Zulu time never changes. It stays all year round. Right, go ahead and close all the doors to make sure they're ready. IRSs have just aligned this moment. That can go into map mode. And traffic. And make sure the weather radar is turned on. Everything's ready to go now, so we can go ahead. Actually, I'm gonna wait for the APU to fire up. There we go. I think it is ready, right? We're gonna get the better pushback and start pushback.
Hey, Captain, let me know where you want this thing.
Right there.
Great news, Captain. Your tow's coming.
Right, excellent. So the APU should be fired up now, I think, given that the aircraft wants to be on the APU power. It is. There we go. We're going to go ahead and get rid of the GPU now, then. And that means we're all ready now to get out of here. Flight directors, left side, right side. This can go up to 360, which is our final altitude for today. Runway heading is 329er. No, sorry, 149er. Again, I'm getting a bit confused with, obviously, the winds are actually perfect to be using a runway 33, but they use runway 15 here, basically, all the time. It's like this in a lot of airports in Italy. They do have, like, a preferential runway that they basically use all the time.
Alright, looks like the doors and hatches are closed and we're ready to connect.
So under departure, it does say there, look, so between 6 and 2300 local time, preferential runway is runway 15 unless there is a tailwind more than 7 knots. The wind right now is 8 knots, okay. That's interesting. I think we'll be swapping to runway 30 then. Okay, so that violates, so what we're doing basically changes, so we'll use runway 33 because the tailwind component is worse than 8, it's worse than 7 knots, it's 8 knots, because obviously it had to be, right? So departure, we're going to be using runway 33 now, it's the Ost 8
Welcome
Echo,
aboard, Captain.
and
Toes
we're
connected,
still
bypass pens inserted.
doing
Go and kill the parking brake when you're ready to go.
Everything's about the same, really. It's just a slight change on initial departure, so we're okay. Go ahead and kill the parking brake.
Here comes the pushback. Light them up.
Excellent, we're ready to go then. So let's get that engine fired up, and the engines can start. Oh, stupid! We need the ISO valves and the APU bleed first. The engines will not start until we have that. Right, just refresh the engine to make sure it does actually start. I think we've actually freaked, there you go, it's working now. We freaked out the plane a bit because I forgot to do those small steps before starting the engine. Right, engine can be fired up. We'll go ahead and turn on the beacon lights and the position lights now. And I'll just bring up the new charts on my, so it's the Ost 8 Echo now, of which there is not a, oh, there is a chart, there it is, it's the 8 Echo, it's going straight out and then a left turn, and all our altitude restrictions are already in there. It's basically exactly the same as before, just a slightly different route. It's not any different, and obviously the later bit of it is exactly the same. Right, that engine's finished, so we can go and get the other engine firing up now. Left engine on. That's going to start firing up now. And we'll set this to 329er now. That and LNAV and VNAV. On the auto
Just about done here. Go ahead and set your parking brake.
Parking brake is set.
And we're disconnecting the tow. Give me just a moment.
And the other engine is fired up without an issue. Cool. Go and get the TCAS on because we're on VATSIM, so you said it a bit earlier. Disconnect. Then. And we're all ready to go. And I'm just wondering why there are no... On this aircraft, there's no, like... There you go, so we want the digital... We want the range arcs and the digital wind bearing. So there's a few things there that were not set in this particular aircraft.
And we're disconnected. Signal and pin on the right. Take it easy and have a safe flight.
Okay, excellent. We are ready then. Pretty soon. Only took us 20 minutes, so I'm quite happy with that. Obviously, we pushed back actually an hour early because I forgot that the time zone's changed. Right, go on to engine electrical power now. Engine bleed's on, and the APU bleed can come off. The APU can now be turned off. And everything else is ready to go. Power transfer unit. Oh, I forgot one of those hydraulic pumps. There we go. Hopefully that will solve it. It has. Just need to get rid of the IRS nav only message on the other FMC as well. And we're ready to go. So, it'll be taxiing to runway 33, so taxiing out and then all the way down Alpha to get to the runway. And we don't need to make any notices on Unicom as there's not a plane nearby. I'll probably notice when I'm taking off just because there might be someone round that spawns in last minute. Right, out we taxi then with our cargo 757-200. Let's get a screenshot. It's a nice scenery this actually, one of those really nice X-plane sceneries that comes default. As I said, one of X-Plane's biggest strengths is default scenery. Right, APU gen can come off. Everything's all ready now, we're all good. And flaps can be set to 5. And then, yeah, all the way down Alpha, right to the end, and then we're taking runway 33 out the airport. I'll just move the chair back in game a little bit. You can't do that in the Zebo. You just hit the chair, but in this, when you move the camera back, it moves the chair as well, which is a very useful feature. It means you don't get stuck in the chair, or it doesn't mess up. And it also means you can sit a bit further back, which is nice. Okay, everything's all ready for departure. Then it's all looking good, and everything's already in there. 663 miles to Leipzig, so it's about what we expected, maybe about 10 miles shorter, although we have obviously swapped what SID we're using, so that will have impacted. Okay, taxiing along then, just zoom back a little bit. There we go, that's a nice seating position, isn't it? Happy with that. No ATC in the area, although when we do get to Germany, Maastricht Eurocontrol is online. Actually from when we cross into Austria, so we might have a bit of ATC from them. However, they won't cover us into Leipzig. They're Eurocontrol, so they only cover above flight level 240. Getting pretty nice 50 FPS as well, which is cool. So I absolutely love X-Plane. I have realised since getting it in like late December, maybe it was January, this is definitely the best flight sim out there right now. I mean, I haven't tried P3D, but P3D is much more expensive. Like, I think the PMDG 737 is about 90 quid, and it's very similar for the 777 as well. And looking at the minimum specs as well for the 737 were pretty high as well. So I don't know. But I don't know a lot about P3D, so I can't compare a lot of things to X-Plane. But at least against Microsoft Flight Sim, this game looks pretty decent. I took a screenshot and uploaded it to the Fly UK screenshot competition, and at the moment it's in second place. It was in third place earlier, so it's around that area, second, third place screenshot, because it's based on voting. But and all the other photos it's going against were in Microsoft Flight Sim, so obviously some people out there do think that X-Plane, it was the 737 over the Rockies, that video I did, it was a screenshot from that, and clearly a lot of people think, well, only some people, it's not a very popular competition, but they think that it is, this game is comparable to Microsoft Flight Sim in a screenshot competition. Right, let's go ahead and get the landing lights on, and the runway turn-offs on. Right, I'll just take off. There's no notice on Unicom, we don't need to. There's no aircraft in the area, so I just check now. Okay, so let's get ourselves out of here then. So we're taking off, and then once we're at 2,000 feet, we will be making a left turn. Flaps are set to 5 for departure. So set thrust for takeoff, start the clock, and full power takeoff obviously, because It's quite a well, it's not a short runway. It's not the shortest I've ever taken off on this aircraft, but it's certainly not a long runway. So I think it was just safe to use maximum power. Right, 100 knots. I'm glad we used maximum power. V1 will rotate. And the aircraft's just gone. It's because I used the toga button rather than the thrust button, so it went back into manual throttle mode there. So good job I had the throttle a little bit up on the joystick, otherwise I would have totally lost power. So we're okay. We're in the air. It was a bit weird there with the suddenly losing power. The aircraft does do that. I just need to make sure I reactivate thrust mode now, and it's okay. Good. It's fine. So just a straight climb out the airport now. Runway turn-offs off, and then it's a pretty much straightforward climb then out the airport, no speed restrictions. So straight out climb to 2,000 feet, and I'm making a left turn. Right, okay, flaps 1, and we'll start pitching the plane up a bit to 2,000 feet, and then we'll make a left turn. There's 2,000. There you go, the plane's now activated the left turn. I'm getting the hang of flying these Boeing aircraft with a joystick, definitely. You just need to be very gentle, almost like you're flying it with a yoke. And there we go. I'll go ahead and enable the autopilot. Make sure I reset the max indents on there, just because it was just so we know if anything happens later on in the flight with the engines. And out we go then. So the aircraft is heading, we'll go direct to Akili. What's happened there? Okay, the aircraft has just gone direct to Akili itself. There, direct Akili. The aircraft has just been a bit funny there. I don't know what's going on there, but okay, the aircraft's just done a bit of a weird thing there. It's weirdly created like a... Who knows? I will have to keep an eye on that. That's a bit weird. The aircraft's just done a bit of an odd thing. Transition altitude is 6,000. So that's when we're going standard pressure. I will watch this because it's gone a bit funny. Because I think I went direct to the wrong waypoint by accident. And I've tried correcting it, but it's not happy. Oh, go flap 0 now actually. And we can go standard pressure. I'm not used to doing it that close after takeoff. Obviously, a lot of my flights lately have been in the US, where they have 18,000 as a transition altitude. So out we climb. I hope this aircraft manages to sort itself out with this weird turn. Hopefully it will realise quite soon that it's not supposed to be doing this. There we go, we are now out of Rome. The aircraft, for some reason, the aircraft has just started speeding up actually. I was wondering why it stuck at 230 knots for a bit. It's okay now. And then yeah, we'll keep an eye on it, just make sure that it does actually do what it's supposed to up here. We're climbing very quickly, so I thought we were quite heavy, but maybe we're still lighter than the passenger 757 that I fly as well. Right, hopefully this thing will... I don't know what's going on. It's messed up. Oh, there you go. So there you go. I've just spotted the issue. We've actually got a duplicated arrival, so we're going to Sovan after RA531. So there you go. We spotted the issue and got rid of it. So it just... I think it like duplicated a waypoint, basically, when I was faffing around with the FMC. So now that's all sorted out, so don't worry. Oh, what do I just... There you go. I just turned... Oh, I've just flicked something. I don't know what mode that's supposed to be in, but I flicked it over. Right. It's not a light. I know the light changed. That's just how X-plane lighting works. Right, we're above 10,000 feet, so line light's off, and the speed is increasing now. Nicely. We'll be cruising today at Mach decimal 8. So, Weirdly, actually, the aircraft is saying at the moment the optimum cruise level is 350, although by the time we get there, maybe that will have changed. If it hasn't, I might readjust our cruise to 360, no, 340 for today. If it hasn't burnt enough fuel by then to consider 360 to be optimum. But there we go, so pretty good departure out of Rome there, nice and clear sky. This can go up to 80 nautical mile range now. And this can go to 0 on the weather radar. Actually no, because we can see bits of terrain, we'll do +1. Also there's this, what's that, outer? I've never seen that illuminated before. Again, it may have been something that I just quickly clicked. Oh, there you go. In fact, I think it has something to do with that thing that I knocked, because I've just changed it, and now I just clicked it again, and it's not illuminated anymore, so it's obviously something to do with that. Right, just check the failure report to make sure there's nothing there. We're good. And there we are, heading out of Rome. I'm happy with that. That was a good departure. Lovely looking this game. There is Rome Fiumicino down there, the main airport in Rome. I'm not sure if I'm actually saying that correctly, but I hope I am. Whatever it is, it's the main airport in Rome. We're going out the secondary one. I guess that's the one that handles the cargo, although looking on the chart there was nothing highlighted that said this is where the cargo is, the cargo area, so who knows. But there we go. And again, normally, I was just thinking actually, normally we do a view out the wing of the aircraft when doing these videos, like in the cruise, but obviously we won't actually have that view, because I don't think we can get into the cargo bay, can we? Unless I can go through this door. I can't open it, but does it let me go through? It doesn't actually let me, look. There's actually an invisible barrier, so we won't be able, I don't think, to get an outside view, to get an inside view. Again, I need to get some X-Plane camera plugins maybe that allow me to do like a wing view. But until then, we're not so lucky with that. I could do this. I could do a view like this maybe. Yeah. Anyway, that aside, I think we'll go ahead and pause the recording, and I'll see you guys at cruise. Right, here we are at cruise then, flight level 360. We've got a pretty crazy headwind right now. I've actually been looking at the weather charts, and we're really supposed to have a 40 to 50 knot headwind, so I have no idea why the wind is 98 knots. It's the correct direction, but it should not be nearly that high. So I have no idea what's going on there. I've checked both 34 and 39,000 levels, and both 12 o'clock Zulu weather and 6 o'clock Zulu weather, and all of them are saying anywhere from 30 to 50 knot winds maybe, so it shouldn't be 90 knots, but oh well, that's just X-Plane live weather, I guess, being a bit unusual. Hopefully that will update soon. I don't know. I mean, it should update quite regularly, right? It last updated 4 minutes ago. I'll just give it a quick refresh, actually. Maybe that will convince it. It's still saying 98 knots, though, so who knows what's going on. Yeah, we'll just ignore that. So I hope everyone is enjoying the flight, and coming up now will just be a quick montage of the cruise. And hope everyone enjoys these videos, of course. Do be sure to like the video if you like what you're watching, and hit the subscribe button and all that. So, anyway, now the cruise montage. Right guys, here we are then. Getting ready to descend pretty soon. In 40 miles. We're on Maastricht Euro control, so we'll be asking for top descent clearance from then. I'm going to go ahead and start the arrival briefing in 4, 3, 2, 1. And there we are. So this is the airport. So just go back to our star for today. It's the Goxley 1 Victor. So heading in from Goxley, just straight across basically the airport to DP459. No restrictions, nothing like that. And from there we're going to make a left turn, roughly where the 1219 kind of altitude mark is. Around there, that's where that waypoint is. We're making a left turn now to Jogger, and then we'll be on the ILS into Leipzig. And looking at restrictions on the ILS, we have to be at take-all at 3000 for the start of the ILS, and all the other restrictions are in there.
TC31 Alpha, shortly leaving my airspace, Unicom 1 to decimal 8, clear.
And that's all good. Airport elevation is 470 feet, so we'll go ahead and set that. Minimums are going to be
Maastricht, good afternoon. Lufthansa
Catwalk minimums
158 in Bonderenli, passing
set
260.
in there.
Lufthansa 115,
Arrival, so we're going to do a flaps 25 arrival today.
Level 300, clear traffic.
And
Stop climb level 300.
that's about it really.
Lufthansa
I'm not going to set the
158.
ILS frequency until a bit later, so that's about it. That's all we really need to set, so not an awful lot. And we will be requesting clearance quite soon. And once we touch down on runway 26 left, we're going to vacate Sierra 3, Sierra 4, somewhere around there, and we're going to taxi into apron 2 and taxi into stand 208, 211, one of those around there.
Run F53,
So that's the plan.
direct
Then
to
stop that on there. So not much of a briefing, so pretty good. And we'll ask for descent clearance soon. Get the auto brake set to 2 for the landing.
Wings 3 X-ray uniform, descend flight level 250.
You see a bit of a weird scenery bug with X-Plane right now, where there's a teeny bit of land that's like missing, and if you look at it at a certain angle, but it's okay. This flight has taken slightly longer than planned, thanks to the X-Plane weather being a bit dodgy, although I think in the end it'll actually be okay. So it has calmed down a
Runway
bit
is
now.
1137, hello identified, recycle
So,
squawk
see.
0301.
So I will see you guys passing around 15,000 feet. Right, so here we are on the descent then, passing 16,000 feet now on Unicom, as we've said bye to Eurocontrol under flight level 240. Nothing heading into Leipzig, so we have it to ourselves, no need to report anything on Unicom. So basically just on that kind of leg coming up to the airport, we should see on the left quite soon, about 60 miles to touchdown. So we'll be landing in around about 15 minutes, so pretty good. Hope everyone has enjoyed this video, by the way, and you know, that's about it really. Been a pretty fun little flight. The weather with the X-Plane weather over Italy was a bit annoying, so that actually meant that we were about 4 minutes early after departing Rome because of the changed departure, but then slowly as we've gone through the route, we're actually 3 minutes late now versus what Simbrief thinks we were going to do. So I don't know whether Simbrief's got the weather charts wrong, or whether X-Plane live weather is wrong. I'm pretty sure it's more likely to be X-Plane live weather, but hopefully it will be, hopefully it was just a one-off. I don't know, I haven't usually had many problems with X-Plane live weather. It's better, not as bad as today anyway. The weather was out by a good 40-50 knots in some areas. It calmed down as soon as we got into Germany and it started getting a bit more accurate. Now the transition level here in Leipzig is 5,000 feet, and the weather right now is very nice. It is QNH 1028, a tiny bit high pressure but slightly less than Rome, 19 degrees and no clouds. So that's pretty good, although it is a 16 knot wind, but it is a headwind, so not a crosswind. Because the wind is coming from a heading of 250 and we're touching down on a heading of 263, so it's basically just a headwind, no crosswind, so it should be okay. Yeah, it is getting into that area now where it's a slightly high wind, 16 knots, but it shouldn't be too bad. This isn't Microsoft Flight Sim, so the planes don't handle horrendously when the wind gets up. I noticed that with Microsoft Flight Sim, as soon as the wind got above like 10 knots, the plane just acts a bit strange to control, even if it wasn't a crosswind. So the physics with the wind in that game, so the live weather in general is quite broken with this game. I think they were initially going to release it in the February update, but it got delayed to the end of April. The start of April, I think, is the France World Update. That'll be coming tomorrow. So it's next month. Yeah, so end of April going into May will be when I think they're planning on fixing the live weather now with that game. Obviously, the Aerosoft CRJ has been released, so maybe I'll give that a little try, although, to be honest, I don't really fancy spending any more money on that game. I've had a lot of fun with X-Plane, and it's been a good game, so I think I'll keep playing it. So you can see there's our airport off to the left. Look, we're actually at 12,000 feet, so we've got a little bit to descend. I think, as you can see, we are quite a distance away from the airport, I think, on this arrival. The waypoint of Jogger is at 21 DME, so it's quite a bit out of the airport. So it's, you know, it should be okay. But it just means it's a bit of a long final leg onto the airport, so you can see there's our route there, DP549, then making the left turn round to Jogger. I'll just get the ILS code, the ILS frequency put in, so it's going to be 110.3. Oh, there we go, 110.3 and 263. Excellent, that's in there then, all set up and ready to go for the arrival. And make sure that the weather radar is set to +2, make sure we don't start seeing the ground on the weather radar. I'm surprised it hadn't already flagged up, actually. There's 10,000 feet, so landing lights can come on. I actually forgot to turn off the seatbelt signs on this flight, although, you know, obviously, so considering that there are no passengers, the seatbelt signs don't really serve any use, so I guess that doesn't matter, does it? I don't even know why. I say it every time I fly a cargo aircraft, but, like, the only people that will ever be on a cargo aircraft will probably be in the cockpit. So obviously, there's not a seatbelt sign in here, so I don't know where the seatbelt signs are. So it's not like the cargo at the back needs to know when to sit down. I mean, even if there are animals back in the cargo, like a dog or something, a dog's not going to understand the seatbelt sign, is it? Anyway. 39 miles to touchdown then, so just be checking that spy. There's nothing on the ground right now in Leipzig, so we've got it to ourselves. And the plane has slowed itself down well. I'll be slowing just on the turn to Jogger to about 220 knots, I suspect. Something around there. Flaps 25 arrival, usually I'd do a flaps 20 arrival, but obviously we must be a bit heavier because the flaps 20 landing speed's a tiny bit higher than it usually is when I fly the passenger variant of this aircraft, so we must be... That's what I mean, we must be a bit heavier. Also, this is the variant without wingtips as well. I don't know whether that makes any difference to the landing speed. I suspect it must have some kind of influence on the aerodynamics of the aircraft. But yeah, the cargo variant that Fly UK has of this plane doesn't have winglets, wingtips, whatever you want to call them. We've got 3,000 set in there, which was the altitude that we intercept the glide slope. The go-around altitude today is 5,000 feet. So that's what we'll be setting once we're established on the arrival today on the ILS. And the go-around procedure basically takes us to a left of the airport, and then left, just basically fly left traffic pattern. Actually, no, right traffic pattern, sorry, right traffic pattern, and intercept the ILS again at Jogger if we do need to go around. But I think we should be okay. Obviously no clouds or anything to get in our way, and no planes to get in our way either, so I think we should be all right. Runway heading is set in there, 10 nautical mile range is set in there, so we're all good. Just going to go ahead and take manual speed control now so that I can reduce the speed when we get a bit closer to the airport. Like I said, when we get a bit closer, I'm going to drop the speed to about 220 just to allow us to deploy flaps 1. Because there aren't really any speed restrictions. Not just yet, though. We're still 7 miles from Jogger, so I'm going to wait. Well, then we'll intercept the ILS around there. And remember, the transition altitude is 5,000. We're going to set the QNH to 1028. So just need to remember that. 20. There's our path on to the arrival, look. All good. I'm going to set the QNH, actually, because there is no transition level, but it's normally about 1,500 feet above. So I'm going to set the pressure now, because I want to make sure that we're all good for the arrival. So 1028 or 3036 is what we'll look for to make sure they're exactly identical on each side. There we go. And that means now the plane knows what descent profile it needs, because we're on the local pressure here in Leipzig, which is about 400 feet above what standard pressure is. And we'll go ahead and get the approach. Okay, the approach isn't willing to arm yet. I suspect we haven't intercepted the ILS yet. We are still quite far out. Sometimes X-Plane doesn't like to intercept an ILS until it's a bit closer than 20 miles. From Jogger it should be good though, from around there. So hopefully we'll intercept it soon. I will just check it's correct. 110.32663. Yeah, it's totally correct. The frequency we've got put in here, so we should be good. You can see, there you go, I think it's just got it now. There we go, we can now on the approach. So it just took a bit of time for the aircraft to intercept it, but we're on the glide slope straight away actually, which is quite nice. So the glide slope won't start until 3,000 feet, so there's that. I'll just report on Unicorn that we're established. There's no one on the ground there anyway, but it doesn't matter. Leipzig traffic, Skyway 7031, established on the ILS for 26 left. Leipzig traffic. Okay, there you go. Made a little report. I don't think there's anyone there anyway to hear it, but just in case someone decides to spawn in at the last minute and depart, say they forgot to connect to VATSIM or something. I did that a couple of weeks ago. I think it was maybe even a week ago. I was doing a flight and I was pushing back from the gate and I was like, oh, I haven't disconnected from VATSIM. I haven't connected to VATSIM, so that was important. Right, we're going to go ahead and slow down to about 210 knots now. And we're going to go flaps 1 to help us slow down. And we're going to arm the speed brakes for landing. Now the flaps aren't fully, you know, they're not fully extending. They weren't quite below 240 knots. We are now. I'm going to deploy full speed brakes to get us properly slowing down, because I meant to slow down a teeny bit earlier than this, although we're still okay. I'm going to go back now to just having them armed, because once we pick up the ILS, once we pick up the glide slopes, I think we're going to be stationary 3,000 for a tiny bit, so we can use that as an opportunity to slow a little bit. So I was going to slow down around Jogger, but then I forgot. Right, I'll go down to 200 knots just to make sure we're extra good, and we can go ahead and arm the speed brakes now, because we can set flaps 5, which I think will introduce enough drag for us to properly slow down. We'll actually go flaps 15, I think. With the speed, yeah, we're under 210 knots, so we can go flaps 10. And we should see the airport. There it is, look. And the weather is pretty much perfect, 16 knots. And a headwind, it's 18 knots at the moment, but obviously we're slightly higher up in the airfield. So it seems as if X-Plane Live weather is working. It was obviously maybe just getting some dodgy information about it. It's Italy, maybe. I don't know, maybe the server that X-Plane uses to get weather from Italy's gone down, or maybe something's happened, I don't know. Or maybe it just loaded in a bit funny. Obviously my X-Plane was crashing numerous times on load in today, so maybe it freaked out X-Plane, that constant crashing. Obviously that was due to Navigraph Simlink, so the issue has been resolved there by disabling Navigraph Simlink until, and I've checked their forums by the way, and a lot of other people have said the same thing. I mean, like about 8 people in about half a day have said the same thing. Maybe not quite as many, but a lot. Just in half a day it is anyway, so it's quite a lot. Right, I think we're pretty much ready to go. We'll go 160 knots now, and then after that we'll go final approach speed, which is 135. Once we've slowed to 160, I'll go ahead and get the gear down and go flaps 25. I mean, we're still 8 miles out at the moment, so it's not quite time to be dropping to final speed. We should be on tip to the ILS any time now. The glide slope, there we go, there it is. We've got it. And go ahead and drop the gear. and we'll make sure the gear's all good. Quick lighting change there. That happens in X-Plane. There you go, gear down, 3 greens, so we can go ahead and go flaps 25 for landing now. And we're going to set 135 in here for landing speed. And we're going to go ahead and disengage the autopilot. And we're going to take control of the throttle as well. Tiny bit low, so we'll just correct that. Flight time is meant to be an hour and 51 minutes, so I think we're going to be slightly behind that. And that was with obviously taking a slightly shorter departure out of Rome. So that shows that the wind calculations didn't really match up to what we ended up having, although we stayed within reserve fuel, so not too bad. And there's the airport up ahead. And we're looking good on the glide slope and on the Pappy lights. Weather is, this feeling nice. Ground speed's really low because of that headwind. 17 knots. So yeah, the weather for Leipzig's perfect. So I don't know. Obviously, the weather for X-Plane Live weather isn't affecting all of it. Doesn't matter, does it? There's the runway, and we're all good to land. So obviously, no name tags of aircraft popping up, which is a good sign. And then once you vacate, we'll go ahead and taxi into ep7 and stand 211 or 208, one of those. Obviously, this will be familiar to some people, that apron and Leipzig, because we did actually go here a couple of weeks ago. I did a cargo flight from, which is actually the cargo flight that follows this one, from Leipzig down to Dublin. Oh, teeny bit high. It's unusual, usually I'm a bit low. That's good. Having trouble keeping the airspeed, actually. I mean, we're descending and quite high engine power.
1,000.
But I think this slightly hot, this descent here will correct that. We're pretty much bang on 135 knots right now. Past 1,000 feet now. Nice scenery onto the landing into Leipzig. See the highway down below us. Or Autobahn, I guess they call it. Is it an Autobahn? I mean, I know that's what they call motorways in Germany, but I don't know if that is an Autobahn or if it's like a different road. And we're pretty good on the glide slope. We're slightly high according... I think we are slightly high according to both the glide slope and the Pappy lights, but it's not too bad. It's always better being slightly too high, I find, because otherwise you end up being slightly too low right at the end when the glide slope starts to shallow out a teeny bit before touchdown. Okay, just get the plane slightly straight, because obviously you don't have great rudder control. And just using a keyboard for a rudder. Right, I'm using like the Q and R keys, I think. Q and R. Right, so there we go. Pretty good landing. Let's
50,
go ahead and let's get a smooth
40,
landing.
30, 20, 10.
There we go. That was a lovely smooth landing, that was. And then we'll keep it on the centre line. Reverse is out. Reverse is green. And reverse is retracted. That was a nice landing, that was. That was a smooth one. Right, stop the clock there. And 60 knots. Auto brakes off. Disarm them. Hello and welcome, everyone, to Leipzig. Now, obviously, I haven't got ground chart. I haven't got the arrow on the ground charts to tell me where we're vacating, so we'll keep a little lookout. I know we'll have to taxi to the right anyway. Right, APU starts, and there we go. Hello and welcome everyone to Leipzig. That was a lovely landing, that. And we've vacated. I don't totally know on which taxiway. At Sierra 4. Yep, Sierra 4 is one of the ones we plan to taxi on. So we're going to head to Tango now, and then we're going to go all the way down Tango, and then we're going to go ahead and turn left onto Victor, and then stand 208, I think we'll use. So there we are. So even without the little arrow telling us where we are. I'm still able to navigate myself around the airfield. Probably pretty good practice. Obviously, in real life, you wouldn't have a little little arrow on your map telling you where you are. APU gen can come on as the APU has started now. Go ahead and flaps can be retracted. Speed brake can be disarmed. And there we are. Hello and welcome everyone to Leipzig. Flight time 1 hour and 52 minutes. So, you know, the shortcut we took on the departure and then the live weather being slightly wrong kind of evens out in the end. And we ended up with a flight that's just 1 minute longer than it was supposed to be. So, you know, that was, and obviously you're never going to get it exact anyway. So that's pretty good. And yeah, we're here in Leipzig. We've got it to ourselves. There's no one else here. So nice. Flight director turns off and the AP is on and ready to go. There we are. Perfect. Hello and welcome everyone to Leipzig. Just check the failure reports. Make sure the GPU is going to work once we connect it. And we're all fine. Speed can just be set to 100 now. I forgot to set go around altitude. Never mind. But just set all these things back to what they are. Only spawned in. I just like to do that sometimes. And I'm guessing this is where the cargo area is at Leipzig. I think that terminal over there is also a cargo terminal. I just like to use apron 2. It's a little bit out of the way, rather compared to apron 4, which is the big one down there. I think they're all cargo. It's a very big cargo airport, Leipzig. I think DHL have a hub here and probably others as well. It's a pretty big airport. So we're going to go ahead and make a left turn now. You can see they go apron 2. This is honestly X-plane scenery. It is just amazing. Default. Look at all the detail. It's telling me exactly where the aprons are, exactly what taxiway I'm on. That's why I can navigate the airport without having that little arrow on my screen. In FSX, I'd be lost without that thing on Navigraph telling me where I am. But in X-plane, it's actually okay because you've got all these floor markings to help you. So standard 208 we're going to use, which I think is going to be this left turn coming up now. Is it? There's some FedEx ATR. It's part of, okay, stand 208 doesn't appear to exist. We'll take 207, I guess, then. That's a bit of a weird one. It jumped straight from 209 to 207. Obviously, it doesn't matter. 207 and 208 are actually very close together, so maybe that's why X-plane didn't pick them both up. Doesn't matter, though, does it? And there we are. Just go ahead and idle the power and we'll stop there. Parking brake is set. And the engines are idle. And go ahead and turn off the engines. And the engine, there goes. So both sides of the aircraft now will go on to APU power. There we are. All the bleeds can come off there. And there we are. Hello and welcome everyone to Leipzig. Let's go ahead, get the GPU connected, shocks set, parking brakes released, load unit and the luggage units can be connected. Don't need a fuel truck because obviously we're not departing. Stairs can be connected and we'll go ahead and open up all those doors. Guess we'll turn off the seatbelt sides now. They haven't been turned off all flight. I don't think they actually do anything anyway, but there we go. External power is on. We can go ahead and turn off the APU, then the utility bus can come off, and the engine gens can come off, and the hydraulics, and the fuel pumps. Temperature can just go to off now, because we don't need them. Recirc fans and trim air can come off, and there we are. Switch these off as well. And the yaw damper. There we are. Hello, welcome everyone to Leipzig. Go ahead and get the APU gen off as well. And then lastly, the beacon light. That signals to all the ground crew services that they can indeed start to unload this 757. Go ahead and reset. I can't reset it, okay? Fine. And there we are. That is that then. Go ahead and cancel the warning light. And I think everything's basically shut down now. Looks pretty good. Oh yeah, window heats. Let's get those off. Because it's not minus temperature outside, so we don't need those. And these can go off. And there we are. Hello and welcome everyone to Leipzig. That was a pretty good flight there. Oh, okay, these can come off as well. And these as well. There we are. And the engine start switches can go off. So there we go. All finished, all done. That can go to manual mode as well. And there we go. TCAS actually can come off. And the weather radar as well. There we are. Hopefully everyone enjoyed that flight and that video. I hope to see you in the next one. And until next time, happy flying, happy racing. Well, again, I was supposed to have an iRacing video coming to you on the VRS GT Sprint Series, but as I said earlier, after a slight annoying race in the GT3 Challenge fix, I decided that it would be best if I didn't do any more iRacing that morning, and that I would chill out instead on Euro Truck Simulator 2, which has had a lovely lighting update lately, actually. I've also bought the Bus, which is a new simulator from TML, so it's I guess the number 3 in the series of kind of Fern Bus, Tourist Bus Sim, now the Bus. Although, unlike the previous 2, this one focuses around City Bus, and it is often described as, you know, the replacement for OMSI, so I've checked it out. It's pretty cool. If you guys would like to see a video on that game, then comment down below. I probably will do one. It's a pretty cool looking game, so, you know, there's not a lot in it right now because it's early access, but it's looking promising, so hopefully there'll be a video on that if you guys want it. And that's about it, really. Until next time, bye-bye.